When it comes to the wizarding world's most terrifying creatures, we're talking about beings so dangerous that even seasoned witches and wizards are often outmatched. In this video, we'll rank the 10 most dangerous dark creatures, from lethal beasts born of magic to foul entities that feed on fear. Let's step into the darkness. At number 10 is the werewolf, a human who transforms into a ferocious wolf-like monster during the full moon. In human form, they are ordinary, if often afflicted by stigma. But at moonrise, they lose all sense of humanity and become predatory beasts. A werewolf's bite is infectious. Victims who survive the mauling are sentenced to life as a werewolf, since lycanthropy is incurable. The bite itself can be deadly if not treated promptly with silver and dittany to cleanse and seal the wound. Fortunately, werewolves are only dangerous during the full moon, and certain measures can mitigate the risk. The wolfsbane potion, invented by Damocles Belby, allows a werewolf to retain their human mind and calm behavior during transformation. Werewolves have existed in wizarding history for centuries, originating in Northern Europe before spreading worldwide. The Ministry's werewolf registry tracks those afflicted, and a special werewolf capture unit exists due to the threat they pose. Famous werewolves include Remus Lupin, who struggled with his condition but took wolfsbane potion to protect others, and Fenrir Greyback, a savage werewolf who deliberately infects victims, often children, as a twisted ideology. Greyback became one of Voldemort's followers and was notoriously vicious, even attacking Hogwarts students during the Battle of Hogwarts. For example, Greyback's attack on Lavender Brown in Deathly Hallows is a chilling reminder of how brutally he hunts when unleashed. Lupin himself nearly killed Harry and Hermione one moonlit night when he transformed without wolfsbane. He had no memory of friends or foes. Only the intervention of Sirius Black, in animagus dog form, and the sunrise prevented tragedy in that encounter. Number 9. Inferi, dark animated corpse. The Inferi is not a natural beast, but a dark creation, a human corpse reanimated by a dark wizard's curse. As such, it feels no pain or fear, making it a relentless attacker. An Inferi, plural, inferi, acts as an expendable servant for its master, obeying commands to kill or guard with no regard for its own safety. They appear as gaunt, decaying corpses with empty, cloudy eyes and icy cold skin. Because they're already dead, most spells have little effect. An Inferi cannot be stunned or killed by conventional means. It will simply rise again. The only reliable defense is fire, as no spell has been found to render dead flesh impervious to burning. Dark wizards often enchant their Inferi to avoid flames, knowing this vulnerability. Inferi are considered dark creatures, studied in defense against the dark arts, due to their terrifying nature. They have been encountered in dark times. Gellert Grindelwald was rumoured to use Inferi, and Lord Voldemort definitely did. In the First Wizarding War, Voldemort murdered vagrant muggles and missing witches, wizards, to create an army of Inferi. One infamous use was in the seaside cave hiding one of his Horcruxes. Harry and Dumbledore in Half-Blood Prince discover a lake full of Inferi waiting underwater. When Harry disturbed them, a horde of pale corpses swarmed and dragged him under the black water. Only Dumbledore's timely action, conjuring a massive ring of fire, repelled the Inferi, as they fear heat and light more than anything. This scene shows how overwhelming Inferi can be in numbers. Even a powerful wizard risked being overrun. Earlier in the same year, Professor Snape taught his Data class that Inferi are corpses, dead bodies bewitched to do a dark wizard's bidding, warning students of the horror these creatures represent. Number 8. Acromantula. An acromantula is a gigantic arachnid, essentially an enormous talking spider, and it's every bit as terrifying as that sounds. Indigenous to the dense jungles of Borneo, these creatures were likely magical bred to guard treasures. They possess 8 black eyes and thick hair covering their bodies, with leg spans that can reach 15 feet or more. Acromantulas are intelligent, capable of human speech, but extremely violent. Their natural inclination is to devour any human who strays into their territory. They spin vast, dome-shaped webs on the forest floor to trap prey and inject venom through massive pincers, a venom so potent it's highly valued and dangerous to harvest in potion making. The ministry has rated acromantulas XXXXX, meaning known wizard killers. In fact, it stated that the acromantula is untrainable and highly dangerous to wizard and muggle alike. One famous acromantula was Aragog, introduced in Harry Potter and the Chamber of Secrets. Hagrid raised Aragog from an egg, and by 1993, Aragog had spawned a colony deep in the Forbidden Forest at Hogwarts, a colony that, aside from Hagrid, viewed humans purely as meat. Harry and Ron learned this the hard way. After meeting the now blind Aragog in the forest, they were nearly swarmed and eaten by hundreds of giant spiders, barely escaping when the flying Ford Anglia came to their rescue. The existence of Aragog's family actually confirms a long-standing rumour. Rumours that a colony of acromantula has been established in Scotland are unconfirmed. It turns out that rumour was all too true, lurking just beyond Hagrid's pumpkin patch. Later, during the Battle of Hogwarts, the acromantula colony emerged from the forest amid the chaos, a living tide of snapping pincers and bristling legs, attacking Death Eaters and defenders indiscriminately. The sheer number of acromantulas made them a threat, even in a war between powerful wizards. After Aragog's death, in Half-Blood Prince, the ministry attempted to contain the colony, but acromantulas breed quickly, up to 100 eggs at a time, and are exceptionally hard to eradicate. Number 7. Chimera. The chimera is a horrifying hybrid monster straight out of Greek myth. It has the front half of a gigantic lion, the hindquarters of a goat, and a tail like a dragon or serpent. This mashup isn't just for show. Chimeras are ferociously aggressive and bloodthirsty. They can roar and bite with leonine jaws, ram with goat-like horns, and lash or sting with a dragon-like tail. In wizarding history, chimeras are so rare and dangerous that there is only one known instance of the successful slaying of a chimera. That lucky wizard died shortly thereafter from his injuries. He fell off his winged horse in exhaustion. In short, even if you somehow manage to kill a chimera, it may well take you down with it. The ministry classifies it as XXXXXX, known wizard killer. Its reputation in the ancient world was so fearsome that a chimera egg is defined as a Class A, non-tradable good, strictly controlled by law. Who in their right mind would want to hatch one anyway? Chimeras originate from Greece, and sightings are extremely scarce, thank Merlin. They're not known to overlap with human settlements often. Likely because any encounter tends to leave no survivors to tell the tale. We don't see a chimera directly in the Harry Potter books or films, but one is indirectly referenced in Goblet of Fire. Hagrid's infamous blast-ended scroots were rumoured to be part chimera and part fire crab, an experiment that would normally violate every magical breeding law. While that was never confirmed, the explosive and aggressive nature of those scroots certainly felt chimera-esque. We do have a canonical historical anecdote. A Greek wizard named Heracles, according to legend, once slew a chimera, presumably the same event referenced in Newt Scamander's writings. Also, famous wizard card lore tells of Jason, of the Argonauts fame, attempting to breed chimeras. The classical myth of Bellerophon and the Chimera is known in the wizarding world, suggesting wizards have feared these beasts since antiquity. In Fantastic Beasts and Where to Find Them, Newt describes the Chimera as vicious and bloodthirsty. It's as close to a textbook unstoppable monster as you'll find in magical zoology. Number 6. Manticore. The manticore is another legendary beast that few have seen and lived to describe. Native to Greece and parts of Asia, a manticore has a terrifying composite form. It boasts the head of a man, often depicted with cruel, intelligent features, affixed to the powerful body of a lion. Its tail is that of a giant scorpion, complete with a venomous stinger. Manticores are sentient, capable of intelligent speech, but don't expect to chat. They are profoundly hostile toward humans. In fact, due to their violent nature, they are not classified as beings, despite their intellect. The manticore's lethal arsenal makes it one of the deadliest creatures alive. Its scorpion tail can kill instantly with one sting. Dragon's pose is such that the Ministry keeps dragon reserves and strict regulations. Dragon eggs are Class A, non-tradable goods due to their potential for mayhem. The Horntail's infamous aggression was showcased during the Tri-Wizard Tournament, 1994, when even experienced dragon handlers were terrified of the specimen brought in for the first task. It broke free of its restraints, scorched the arena, and almost killed Harry Potter, who noted it was like a flying death machine with fire and claws coming from every direction. Only Harry's skill on a broom allowed him to snatch the golden egg and escape the Horntail's wrath. Even then, the Horntail's fiery breath clipped Harry and nearly sent him plummeting. This close call under controlled conditions highlights how lethal a dragon can be. Dragons are woven deeply into wizarding lore worldwide. There are 10 known purebred breeds, from Swedish short snouts to Chinese fireballs, and the Hungarian Horntail is legendary for its bad temper. Charlie Weasley, a dragon handler, said it's vicious and not the kind he'd want to face up close. In Goblet of Fire, the Horntail scored top marks on the danger quotient for the champion's task. Canonically, a few dragons have caused large-scale incidents. A rogue Welsh green once flew over a beach full of muggles in the 1930s. Luckily, a holidaying wizard family sprang into action to prevent casualties. And of course, in Deathly Hallows, Harry, Ron, and Hermione encountered a tortured Ukrainian ironbelly guarding Gringotts vaults. That dragon, despite being half-blind and mistreated, nearly incinerated them and demolished the wizarding bank during their escape. It's a testament to dragon resilience that spells cast by Bellatrix and others bounced off its hide. The trio ultimately rode that dragon to freedom as it smashed through the building. Historically, slaying dragons was the stuff of medieval legend, e.g., the Hebridean black dragons in Britain required territory of 100 square miles each and would incinerate livestock, making them the terror of the Highlands. Because of their size and power, dragons were a major driver behind the International Statute of Secrecy. Wizards had to hide these creatures to prevent constant muggle panics. The Department for Regulation of Magical Creatures employs specialized dragon research and restraint bureaus, and typically only highly trained wizards, like Charlie's team in Romania, dare approach dragons. In short, dragons are apex predators of the magical world. Number 4. Lethifold, Living Shroud. Sliding in at number 4 is a lesser-known but nightmarish creature, the Lethifold, also called the Living Shroud. This dark creature is essentially a sentient shadow, a black, cloak-like apparition that glides along the ground at night, seeking sleeping prey. Lethifolds are mercifully extremely rare, found only in tropical climates, but those who have encountered them scarcely live to tell the tale. A Lethifold attacks by silently creeping over a sleeping victim and smothering them to death, then digesting them on the spot. Come morning, the victim has vanished without a trace. The creature leaves no evidence except an empty bed. As one account notes, once its prey has been successfully suffocated, the Lethifold digests its food there and then in their bed, leaving no trace of itself or its victim behind. Because of this, many Lethifold victims are initially just reported as mysterious disappearances. The number of lives claimed is impossible to know, a chilling thought. What makes the Lethifold especially terrifying is that most magic doesn't work on it. Regular spells, stunners, impediment jinxes, etc., pass through or fail to affect its amorphous form. According to the famous survivor Flavius Belby, who fought off a Lethifold in Papua New Guinea in 1782, even a blasting curse only blew a hole in his door, but didn't faze the shadow creeping up his bed. Belby awoke in the nick of time as the Lethifold's slight weight settled on him. He describes the horror of feeling something like a rippling black cape slithering over his body. He tried multiple spells in desperation, all ineffective, as the black cloak wrapped around his face, suffocating him. At the last moment, Belby managed to focus on a joyful memory and cast the Patronus charm, which sent the Lethifold flying off like a shadow being thrown by a light. He survived, the only known survivor on record, and documented the experience for the wizarding world. Thanks to Belby, we know that a Patronus is the only known spell that repels a Lethifold. This makes sense. A Patronus is a manifestation of pure positive energy, hope, happiness. It's essentially kryptonite to many dark creatures, and apparently the Lethifold is no exception. Because Lethifolds dwell in tropical areas and often leave no evidence, they were once considered a myth by European wizards. But Belby's testimony, published in Challenges in Charming 1782, convinced the magical community of their existence. It also gave us crucial knowledge of how to survive one. Otherwise, who would have thought to use a Patronus against what looks like a suffocating cloak? Lethifolds are classified XXXXXXX simply because nothing but the Patronus works. And how many average witches or wizards can conjure a full Patronus when jolted awake in terror? Not many, which is why nearly all victims perish. Wizards in tropical regions reportedly sleep with charmed instruments or spells to alert them if a Lethifold is near. Thankfully, Lethifolds do not multiply quickly or roam in groups. They are solitary predators, akin to supernatural boa constrictors made of shadow. Newt Scamander notes the creatures seem to prefer humid, dark environments and typically hunt at night, attacking sleeping targets, hence their classification as dark creatures rather than mere beasts. Due to their rarity, they haven't played a direct role in famous battles or events. No dark wizard controls Lethifolds the way they might employ Dementors or Inferi. One humorous footnote. Some unscrupulous individuals have faked their deaths by leaving notes like, "Oh no, a Lethifold's got me," and vanishing. Reputation. But genuine Lethifold cases are no joke. They're a spectre you never want creeping under your bedroom door. Number 3. Dementor. In third place, we have the Dementor, not a beast per se, but one of the foulest dark creatures to ever torment the world. Dementors are soulless, wraith-like entities that feed on human happiness and positive emotions. They appear as tall, hooded figures draped in rotting black robes, gliding a few feet above the ground. Beneath their hood is said to be a void-like mouth used for their most dreaded attack, the Dementor's kiss, which can suck out a person's soul entirely. Even without kissing their victim, Dementors inflict torment. They drain peace, hope, and happiness out of the air around them, making anyone nearby feel despair. Professor Lupin describes Dementors as among the foulest creatures that walk this earth. Get too near a Dementor, and every good feeling, every happy memory will be sucked out of you. If it can, the Dementor will feed on you long enough to reduce you to something like itself, soulless and evil. You'll be left with nothing but your worst experiences. In essence, Dementors don't just kill you, they obliterate everything that makes life worth living. And if given the chance, they destroy your very self by devouring your soul. Dementors are not natural, but it's unclear if they were created or spawned by concentrated evil. According to a writing by J.K. Rowling on Wizarding World, Dementors infested the island fortress of Azkaban as early as the 15th century. A dark wizard named Acrisdis had performed unspeakable atrocities there, and when he died, the residue of suffering attracted Dementors to the spot. The Ministry eventually decided to use Azkaban as a prison specifically because Dementors were already there, harnessing these creatures as free jailers, a morally dubious decision that haunted them later. For nearly 3 centuries, Azkaban's inmates lived under the icy despair of the Dementors, which is why most went insane or died of hopelessness. Albus Dumbledore always opposed using Dementors, calling them creatures of darkness that could not be trusted. Indeed, during the Second Wizarding War, the Dementors abandoned the Ministry and joined Voldemort, who gave them free rein to terrorize as they pleased. We saw this in Deathly Hallows. Under Voldemort's regime, Dementors spread across the land, causing mist, cold, and depression wherever they went, and even breeding. They multiply in conditions of despair. literally making the world darker. Canon is rife with Dementor encounters. Harry Potter and the Prisoner of Azkaban is our introduction. On the Hogwarts Express, a Dementor boarded the train searching for Sirius Black. The temperature plunged, ice frosted the windows, and Harry felt a terrible drowning sadness before fainting, all without the creature even directly targeting him. Later, a swarm of Dementors attacked Harry and Sirius by the Black Lake. The scene was harrowing. Dozens of them started to kiss Sirius's soul out, and Harry nearly lost his own soul too. He described feeling as if he'd never be happy again, hearing his mother's screams. Dementors make you relive your worst memories, until a powerful Patronus stag cast by his future self drove them away. In Order of the Phoenix, 2 Dementors attacked Harry and his cousin Dudley in Little Whinging on Voldemort's orders via a corrupted official, proving that even Muggles are affected. Dudley was reduced to a terrified, gibbering state. Harry barely managed to produce a Patronus to save them. This incident led to a full inquiry at the Ministry, highlighting that even 1 or 2 Dementors loose in a Muggle suburb is a crisis-level event. The Patronus charm, Expecto Patronum, is the only effective defense against Dementors, creating a positive energy guardian that repels them. However, conjuring a Patronus requires significant magical skill and emotional focus. Many adult wizards struggle with it. Aside from Patronuses, the only other protections are physical avoidance, or if Dementors are under strict control, as in Azkaban, where they were kept on the island by a ready supply of souls to feed on. Notably, Dementors cannot be killed or destroyed. They're not alive in a conventional sense. They also breed by spreading decay and despair. In Half-Blood Prince, the mist and gloom over Britain were signs that Dementors were breeding unchecked as Voldemort gained power. Once Voldemort fell, Minister Kingsley Shacklebolt had all Dementors removed from Azkaban and the Ministry's employ, a wise move to end their tacit allowance in society. To this day, Dementors remain a constant threat in the background, a grim reminder that some darkness in the world is not easily extinguished. Number 2. Basilisk coiling in. At number 2 is the Basilisk, also known as the King of Serpents, an ancient creature bred through dark magic that is quite literally death on legs, or rather on scales. A basilisk is a gigantic serpent, brilliant green in color, that can grow up to 50 feet long. Its fangs carry a venom so potent that it will kill a person within minutes and can even destroy magical objects, e.g. Horcruxes, beyond repair. But deadly as that venom is, it's not the basilisk's scariest weapon. The real horror is in the creature's eyes. Looking directly into a basilisk's yellow eyes causes instant death. Even an indirect look, through a reflection or lens, will petrify a person, a fate only reversible by powerful restorative potions. This gives the basilisk a mythical status among monsters. It can slay with a mere glance, making it one of the only creatures that can kill without touching its victim. No wonder spiders, acutely sensitive to danger, flee from the basilisk. It's their mortal enemy. The only known creature a basilisk fears is the rooster, whose crow is fatal to it. Perhaps a built-in check by nature, though in practice, any dark wizard raising a basilisk simply eliminates roosters nearby, as Riddle did at Hogwarts. Breeding has been outlawed since medieval times, but that didn't stop some from trying. The first basilisk was bred by the ancient dark wizard Herpo the Foul, a Greek parselmouth, over 1,000 years ago. He discovered that by hatching a chicken egg under a toad, he could produce this monstrous serpent. Ever since, the secret of basilisk breeding passed down among dark sorcerers, though it's an exceptionally rare occurrence. It requires a parselmouth to control the newborn creature, otherwise it would kill even its creator. In fact, Fantastic Beasts notes that basilisks are uncontrollable except by parselmouths, and thus as dangerous to dark wizards as to anyone else. This is likely why sightings are so scarce. One loose basilisk could depopulate a region, but thankfully very few have ever been recorded. Salazar Slytherin famously hid a basilisk in Hogwarts circa 993 AD, sealing it in the Chamber of Secrets. That basilisk lay dormant for centuries until Slytherin's heir, Tom Riddle, Voldemort, reopened the chamber during his school days, 1943. It killed a student, Moaning Myrtle, with a direct glance, and only Riddle's concealment kept it secret. Fast forward to Harry Potter and the Chamber of Secrets, 1993. The same basilisk was released again by Riddle's preserved memory, via his diary Horcrux. Over the course of a year, it petrified several students: Colin Creevey, Justin Finch-Fletchley, Hermione, Penelope Clearwater, and even nearly killed them. The only reason those victims survived is sheer luck. None met its gaze directly. They saw it through camera lenses, mirrors, ghost form, etc., hence petrification instead of death. Panic gripped Hogwarts as students were found paralyzed, and it became clear something was hunting Muggleborns in the pipes. In the climactic chamber confrontation, Harry faces this 60-foot serpent in the dark underground lair. The basilisk's power is such that even an indirect glance at its eyes reflected in water had petrified Hermione. When it emerged to attack Harry, its hiss and presence nearly overwhelmed him. Harry only survived because of multiple miracles. Fawkes the Phoenix swooped in and blinded the basilisk by pecking out its eyes. Phoenixes are immune to the basilisk's gaze, being magical birds. Even blinded, the basilisk was lethally dangerous. It hunted Harry by smell and nearly struck him. Harry managed to grab the sword of Gryffindor from the sorting hat. Thank you, Phoenix magic. And, in a desperate moment, thrust the sword into the roof of the basilisk's mouth, killing it. However, one of the basilisk's fangs pierced Harry's arm during that final strike. Basilisk venom acts fast. Harry was at death's door within moments, saved only by Phoenix tears, the only cure for that poison. The dead basilisk's huge carcass remained in the chamber, where years later Ron and Hermione would pry a fang from its skull to destroy a Horcrux, since the venom imbued in its fangs can destroy dark magical artifacts. It's hard to overstate how catastrophic it could have been if that basilisk had not been stopped. An uncontrollable giant snake loose in a school of children is the stuff of the darkest fairy tales. And that was just one. The Fantastic Beasts book notes no basilisk had been seen in Britain for 400 years, obviously unaware of the one at Hogwarts, meaning they are truly rare. But the legend of the basilisk looms large. It combines the deadly traits of several creatures: venom like a giant spider's, size and strength of a dragon, and a gaze more lethal than a Medusa's. Little wonder that even in the wizarding world, hearing a whisper of basilisk would send shivers down spines. Number 1. Nundu. At the top of our list stands the mighty Nundu, often regarded as arguably the most dangerous beast in the world. The Nundu is a monster that even the bravest wizards fear to engage. A Nundu resembles an enormous leopard. Its size is gigantic, far bigger than any mundane big cat. Despite this bulk, it moves silently, creeping up on entire settlements without notice. Its most fearsome trait is not its fangs or claws, though it has those too, but its breath. The Nundu's breath carries a virulent disease, a toxic miasma so potent it can wipe out whole villages in moments. Imagine a cloud of plague rolling in with the predator. Anyone caught downwind could drop dead or suffer a lethal illness almost instantly. The Nundu's menace is such that it has never been subdued by fewer than 100 skilled wizards working together. Yes, 100. That staggering fact from Newt Scamander's Fantastic Beasts textbook underscores just how apocalyptic a Nundu encounter can be. In practical terms, a Nundu is like a walking biological weapon with the stealth of a ghost and the durability of a dragon. Nundus are native to East Africa, and local wizarding communities have legends and precautions surrounding them. They are very rare, thankfully, and solitary. But whenever one has appeared, the destruction is monumental. One historical account mentions an entire town on the African savannah found completely lifeless, as if struck by a sudden plague. The culprit was determined to be a passing Nundu. It took a massive team of wizards from the Magical Congress of Uganda, for example, to eventually track and contain it. The fact that 100 wizards are needed to even hope to subdue a Nundu is repeated in every authoritative source. This suggests not only physical might, likely strong hide, resistance to spells, but also that deadly breath. You can't get near it without being poisoned, and likely it's difficult to stun or kill from afar as well. In Fantastic Beasts and Where to Find Them, Newt Scamander notes the Nundu's reputation in odd terms, essentially placing it above dragons on the danger scale. There are no recorded instances of a single witch or wizard defeating a Nundu, ever. Even groups that managed to contain one probably did so by driving it away rather than outright defeating it off, rather than outright killing it. In recent Wizarding World lore, J.K. Rowling's writings on wizardingworld.com, there's mention of Nundu sightings prompting international task forces to be deployed, and strict secrecy measures to keep muggles away from the quarantine zone. Unlike most creatures, Nundus seem to have no exploitable weakness mentioned. They are immune to their own disease cloud, naturally, and presumably to many spells as well, given the need for overwhelming force. They are also intelligent hunters. One can assume a Nundu won't just stand still and get hit by curses. It can prowl unseen, then exhale doom on an entire encampment before the victims realize what's happening. While no Nundu has appeared in the Harry Potter novels or films, one did get a nod in Fantastic Beasts. The Crimes of Grindelwald, in a comic anecdote about Newt's supposed antics, and the concept art for the films shows a terrifying leopard-like beast with pustule-covered jaws, hinting at its diseased breath. The Wizarding World description paints the Nundu as the apex of magical predators, a living catastrophe. It's the kind of creature you coordinate with ministries and armies of wizards to deal with. If a dragon is equivalent to, say, a natural disaster like a wildfire or volcano, a Nundu is like a pandemic and hurricane combined, moving with deliberate malice. While Basilisks and Dementors are terrifying, a sufficiently skilled individual, or duo, did overcome those in canon. Harry and friends managed to defeat or repel them under extraordinary circumstances. But a Nundu? The canon tells us no single wizard has ever stood a chance alone. Stay safe, dear muggles and witches and wizards. Constant vigilance. And thank you for adventuring with us through the darker side of magical creatures. Until next time, mischief managed.